In 10 seconds, could you tell me what your top 5 values are? Just 10 seconds. Okay, why is that important? Values reflect who we are truly and shape where we are going in life. If you want to be successful and fulfilled, you better get in touch with your values. Okay, you have values, we all have values. And then there are things that I'm sure that you don't even think about why you value them, but the things that you wouldn't give up for anything in the world, and you place a very high value on it. Okay, take a look at this. This is a photo taken by my brother-in-law. Probably wouldn't have very much value to you. He was just an amateur photographer, just hobby, photograph wildlife as he loved the wild outdoors. Basically, he was a construction worker by trade. And he was so excited about taking this photo. The story he told about this, because if you look at this eagle, you could tell that the eagle's very old. And apparently, when an eagle is ready to die, they will make that pose. They'll get up in a tree and they will pose in that particular way. But it's a very rare thing to see, if you can imagine. And so when he told the story of that, like, he was delighted, but at the same time, he was really sad because this meant that the eagle was going to die. And he was, like, checking out soon. Well, my brother-in-law checked out just a few years back, and this photo is above my desk at home now. Okay, now here is another something that was and still is very valuable to me. This is my little 17-year-old cockapoo, but unfortunately we had to put her down in November. She got really sick, and she was heading downhill for a while. She was really old, and we wouldn't have traded her for any amount of money whatsoever, not even in her last days when we knew she wasn't going to live very long. We do have another dog, and this guy's name is Abbott, and he is very valuable to us as well. Okay, so what exactly are values, and where do they stem from? Or do you even know what your values are? And that's an important question to ask yourself. Do I really know what my values are? Because in our society, we're not really taught to get in touch with ourselves. We're not taught to be individuals really now. And that's for another video at another time, but I can't wait to get into that one. But anyway, we're not really encouraged to get in touch with what our actual values are. And also, are your values in line with your goals? Do they match? Okay, so think of some of your values. Think of, there's a long list of values, that you could think of. Values are the things you feel important. They are a key part of who you really are. They're personal, they're very personal. For example, you might find humor important where, the other people, maybe your neighbor doesn't. Probably if you find humor important, probably your friends do too. So that would be a value to you. That'd be something that you value. And there's no right or wrong when it comes to values. They're all very personal, and the things that I value might not be the same things that you value, and that is okay. A lot of our values stem from our early childhood, and they can change over time, and especially if you have a significant change in your life and significant change in the people around you and the environment around you. Often people value close relationships with family members, but not everybody does. So, like most people do, their family, their parents, their children, their siblings. a lot of people place a very high value on that, but and not everybody does, and it's not wrong if you don't. It's not wrong if you do. I, for one, don't place a high value on that because it was never part of my life. Uh, those relationships weren't really a part of my life growing up, if that makes any sense. But I can understand why other people will value that. And values have moral implication and are important to the person regardless of context, right? Regardless of whatever context. Values guide us in our decisions, or at least they should, not always. Our most important decisions in life are based on our values. However, if we are not clear on what our values are, we often will just, bumble along and waffle on decision making. So if you're having a hard time making decisions and you're thinking, well, what should I do? What path should I take? Maybe it's time to get in touch with your values. And have you even thought about that? So what are your values? Have you even thought about what they really are? And are you being true to your values? It's pretty easy to not, just, have those values, and they're very deep seated, but other pressures might be taking you away from your values. And so therefore you'd be compromising your true values to say, fit in maybe, or possibly get more money, or to look better. Okay, so I have included a list here. I'm just showing it now, this list. And there could be others on this list. So this list is going to be in the video, so you can stop the video or go back to it, whatever. It's not a comprehensive list by any means. Because there's literally hundreds of different values. And if you think you've got them all written in a list, somebody else can come up with something different because they are so personal and they change over time. So this is just an example of a list of values. So, okay, I'm saying to get in touch with your values. Okay, and we know that's important, right? So how do I do that? Okay, look, first of all, yeah, go back to that list and maybe look at the list and circle. Remember, this isn't a comprehensive list, and if you know of other values that you might have, you can write them in and circle the top 10 that you have. And that takes up a big part of this list. But if that is too difficult, choose more than 10. You might look at them all, it's like, well, okay, I find that important, that important, that important. But just, like go through, it's like, what's the most important? What are your top 10? And then think of different scenarios where you have to choose one against the other. Okay, so supposing you value a healthy environment and you value social responsibility. And now you get to choose between two volunteer positions. So imagine two different people offered you volunteer positions at the same time, and you're equally qualified for it and the same amount of hours. Everything is identical, except one is has an environmental twist to it, and the other one is a social responsibility twist to it. Now, which one would you choose? So, think of scenarios like that and kind of be honest, like which one would you choose over the other? And, when you think of that, then you can start narrowing it down, like you'll be exercising that values muscle in your brain, and you'll be able to narrow it down, think, okay, so yeah, so that one was a little bit hard, but maybe the next one's going to be a little bit easier to choose, what values, and I can add more to the list now that I'm on that track of like trying to figure out what my values are. So we would like to narrow them down to about five of your very top values. So they would be your core values. And, this might take some time, depending on how much you are in touch with your values and in touch with yourself. So when you have finished that, try to think. Yeah, and another thing that's really important, remember always there's no right or wrong when it comes to these. So don't try to choose the right one or the best ones that make you look the best or anything. No, values are not good, bad, they don't have that kind of thing. They are just values, they are neutral. So just remember that. So don't try to choose, don't try to make the best ones. So yeah, when you get that top five, just try to think, am I living by my values? And yeah, as you're trying to think of your top five, you might find it really tough because you want to prioritize everything because, we think they're all important. Well, but maybe you feel like they're all important, but not equally important. Some are always more important than others. Okay, so after you've finished that, think of your life now. Now, think of your goals, and are they in line with your values? And if not, take a really good look at yourself and think, why are my goals not in line with my values? Now here we are throwing something else out. We're talking about values, talking about goals. Aren't they the same thing? No. Goals and values are very, very different. A goal is something that you're working towards. A value is something that's innate, and examples of goals would be, okay, I want to run a marathon or a 5K, or I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to complete a language course, or I want to start a YouTube channel. Things like that are goals. And those actually that I'm looking at right now, those ones that I mentioned to you, those are outcome goals. And those are the things that you'd be looking for at the end, like those are the things you're running towards, those are the things you're working towards. But in order for your goals to be successful, you need to have behavior goals to get you there, right? So behavior goals would be, so, your goal might be, I want to run a 5K. Okay, so you don't just get up and run a 5K on a Sunday after you've been very sedentary for the last 30 years. That's not going to happen. And so you have to make these behavior goals working up towards that. So you start off, like doing a walk, and maybe a longer walk and a longer walk, and then a faster walk, and then, et cetera, et cetera. So you build up your behavior goals over time to end up with your outcome goal. And so, just making the difference between, what a goal, first of all, what is a goal? And then the different kinds of goals. So, everybody thinks of the outcome goal, I want to get to this, but that's your outcome. And, along the way, you'll have these behavior goals. Okay, so why do we have these goals anyway? A goal must have some kind of meaning for you, right? For me, if I, wanted to, climb Mount Everest, for example, like there'd be a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money involved in that. And so, would it have any meaning to me except for, to maybe take a picture, a selfie at the top? For me, that wouldn't mean anything. For other people, when you see the goal is something that's a personal thing too. But there'd have to be some kind of reason for achieving that goal. There needs to be a reason for it. You need to be, like, well, why would you be having the goal of running a 5K, right? Why? To improve your health and fitness, or maybe you just want the enjoyment of the race, I've been to races myself. They're very exciting and people are so upbeat and the energy is just, it just gets you going, even if you haven't slept half of the night because you were nervous about the race. When you get to the race, it's like the energy is crazy. And so if you are having the goal of going to the 5K because you love being in that environment and you're willing to have those little behavior goals along the way to get you to where you would be to be able to run that 5K, then it makes it all worth it. Or maybe you have that goal because your friend is also going to be running in the same 5K race and you want to do it together as a team, or you want to be there as a support person for somebody else that's running the 5K. And all these are things to consider when you're planning and developing your goals. So, when you have a goal, it's just not, it's a goal. My goal for today, like, I'm going to watch the paint dry. What would you be doing that for? Like there isn't a reason for it. And it's important to make sure that, when you do have a goal, you're not doing it to please other people unless it's absolutely necessary to do that. It should be something that something that you want. Your goals should be things that you want. So when your goals don't line up with your values, things just are not going to work out for you. They have to be in line. Okay, so what do you mean by my goals and my values have to be in line? Okay, have you ever wondered why sometimes you just never follow through with your goals in the long term? You might have this goal and might start off really good, and then it just, after a while, it's like, no, and then you just feel like a failure. It's like, okay, I always make this goal, and then, the New Year's resolution, and then it just falls off by the end of January. And you ever stop and think why? It might be that the goal that you have just isn't in line with your values. And, when you think about it, so how is this? Okay, so I'll give you an example of values and goals that just don't line up. Okay, so you might have the goal of rising up the ladder in your company, right? Climb that corporate ladder. It's everybody's dream, like get that promotion. I want that promotion. And, you have that goal. It's like, I'm going to be up that ladder. And in order to do that, though, you are required to work longer hours, and you come home from work after the kids are already gone to bed and your spouse is there putting them to bed, and you don't get to spend any time with them, and this is happening more and more and more as you get closer and closer to that goal of getting that promotion. And you value your time with your kids because you know that they're not going to stay, say age 4 and age 6 forever, and you want that time with them because you value that. But your goal is to go up that corporate ladder. And so you're thinking, okay, why is that important to me? Why do I want that promotion? And is it worth what I'm sacrificing for? Because it's not going to get any better. You work and work and work to get to that point, right? You get that promotion, and then you're working longer hours again, and your kids are growing up, and you're going home late all the time. And so, this is the kind of scenario that your goals are not in line with your values. But maybe you need to do that. Maybe you need that promotion. You need that extra money because your bills make it so that you need more, that amount of money. But if you are financially okay and everything else is okay, you're looking for the promotion just because you think it's the thing to do because everybody wants a promotion, or you are looking at the promotion because it gives you more status and people are going to look at you different. Okay, how important is that when you compare it to the time that you spend with your kids? And it's something that, I know we think about that, and you never think that you're ever going to get in that position, but then a lot of people do. And these are the kinds of people who never think they are. And, that then they realize it's like, okay, I have this goal and I'm moving towards this goal, but I want that goal. I want that goal. And so just think about that. And, you can modify, just because you have goal set doesn't make you a failure if you just chuck out the goal because it doesn't make any sense. Or you can modify it. These are that's something you made yourself. You can modify it in any way you want. You could take it, scratch it out, make changes, whatever, however you want to make changes to your goal. You can do that. But anytime you are compromising your values for your goals, it is time to consider, like, yeah, why do you have that goal? What's it there? What's it doing? What's it doing for you? And is it something that has been pushed onto you? I know, and I'm going to have videos on that subject as well, because people get things pushed onto them all the time, and they internalize it. It's like, okay, this is really what I want. It's not. It never was, but people make you believe it is your value, and your goals should be modified and changed as time goes on. Like, they're not set in stone. So just remember that as you go along. Okay, so that's all I have to say, except, so this is me. My name's Denise, and this series is called Soul in Focus, and I'm going to be tackling tough but necessary issues that we rarely think about. And our society in the West is lacking in many of the factors that were considered important for generations until now. And somehow, some way, we've lost this priority, and as a result, we become pretty much lost, depressed, and even a lot of us physically ill. I'm a perfect example of somebody being physically ill just because of who knows why, but I have become ill, physically ill. And I think it's basically, this lost soul kind of epidemic that's going around. And hopefully, this, through education, we can deal with this. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.